Energy rates on the rise, bank robbery suspects under arrest, and Sandy Neck fees to go up next year. These stories and more on this episode of Barnstable Today. It's Tuesday, October 21st, 2014. I'm Sarah Colvin. Energy rates for Massachusetts customers are expected to rise soon. Monday night, Nicole Price-Voudren from the Cape Light Compact made a presentation to Barnstable's Renewable Energy Commission and explained the reasons behind the expected rate rise.
Electricity prices will be increasing, as I prefaced. Everyone's prices will be going up. National Grid Electric has filed for basic service prices greater than 16 cents. That's only half of your bill. That's not your entire well, for National Grid Electric customers. It's not the entire amount of the bill. That's just for supply, which is almost doubling from its current rate, which is in the 8-point-something cents a kilowatt hour. Cape Light Compact customers will see a change starting in December, likely to last several years. Why is this happening? The short story is natural gas. It is a kind of boon fuel. We have become very dependent on natural gas. We're generating more electricity with it. As the different coal plants go offline, we're putting on more combined cycle natural gas plants. And what happened is New England tripled its portion of electricity which is generated from natural gas. At the same time, we've increased gas usage for heating. So more folks are converting to natural gas where available in their respective homes and businesses across New England, not Northeast Ham forward because there's no pipeline there, or not Martha's Vineyard, but everywhere else where available. I personally would have if it was available for me. There are no additional pipelines to bring gas into New England. So there's all this shale gas, which I'll get to in a future slide in the presentation. But we're at the end of the pipeline. So that means we're at the end of the supply. And when you have a small supply, huge demand, prices go up.
Price-Voudren's presentation included information about how residents can be more energy efficient and reduce energy bills. More tips can be found online at capelightcompact.org. Well, police make headway on investigations into recent bank robberies. Chief of Police Paul McDonald tells us that a pair of suspects were recently arrested.
4 o'clock in the afternoon, we responded to the bank on Route 28 in Catuit. A gentleman went in there wearing a Skeletor mask with a handgun and robbed the bank. He then fled to the rear of the building to Industry Park and then fled in a waiting vehicle. During the course of the investigation, we did develop some information on a possible suspect, Edgar Milham, M-I-L-L-H-A-M. We quickly identified where he lived and type of vehicle he was driving. While the detectives and narcotics units were there at the bank doing the investigation, the street crime unit went over and put him under surveillance. While he was under surveillance, they followed him up into Sandwich, up into Wareham, up into Holyoke, and then back onto Cape Cod. And once he was back on the Cape in Sandwich late that night, they saw him in a parking lot, and he was actually in the process of shooting up heroin. When they approached the vehicle, he still had a hypodermic needle in his arm. He was subsequently arrested. And when he was taken out of the vehicle, a lot of the money, the marked bills from the bank, was still in his possession. So he was subsequently charged with bank robbery. And during the course of the investigation, a second suspect from Sandwich, Kyle Myers, was also identified, and he was subsequently arrested also. He was driving the so-called getaway vehicle. He did not go in the bank, but he was subsequently arrested. What's different about this one, this was the 5th bank robbery on the Cape in the last 3 weeks. This one's a little bit different. The couple we've had in Barnstable, an individual would go in, they'd pass a note demanding the money. This was a little more severe. The gentleman went in. He obviously had his face covered with a Skeletor mask, but he went in there with a loaded handgun, which is a little bit different because of the level of what he was trying to do. I mean, he literally threatened to shoot these individuals if they did not turn the money over.
Chief McDonald says neither suspect has a lengthy criminal record, but it does appear drugs are the motivation for the crime. On November 6th, Town Council will hear a $90,000 request from Sandy Neck for dune nourishment. A vote is expected at the November 20th meeting. Beach Park Manager Nina Coleman explains the project.
We're going to concentrate on the west side, which is the steepest and the most affected from the last set of storms. So from there kind of out towards the handicap ramp is where we're going to put that 4,000 cubic yards if the funding is secured. Presently I had an RFP out for the design and permitting of the softscape portion of this project, which is phase 2. Those funds were secured last year around this time. We got additional funds. We got monies for last year's sand replenishment project, and then we also at the same time secured extra funding for the design and permitting of phase 2. So that funding is secured. And so the RFP went out. It was due on October 3rd, and we have a meeting next week or the end of this week to look at the 2 proposals that came through. So that engineering and permitting is going to start. It takes forever, right? So we have potentially a year to secure those permits. Again, make it very clear that we have permits to place sand. We have very basic permits to place sand, but we don't have permits for all of this engineered soft.
Coleman is hoping to begin work right after Christmas. Well, next summer, it will cost a bit more to access Sandy Neck. On Monday, the Sandy Neck Board approved modest rate hikes. The resident rate will remain at $85, but for 2015, both Sandwich residents and non-residents will pay $170 for a sticker. Overnight camping for residents will increase to $10, $20 for Sandwich and non-residents. That's per night. The full rate increases will soon be available online. The Sandy Neck Board also looking for ways in which to increase revenue, specifically to help defray costs associated with the parking lot and repairs. The board voted Monday to begin looking into an increased weighted average of town beach parking fees.
The distribution of yes. Because of our increased the expenses that we have that other beaches don't have, specifically maintenance of that parking lot. So that's one item.
Are you talking about the $35 sticker that people put on their car that they buy from recreation?
Yes.
Okay.
That we get a higher percentage of that, so we have more monies associated. So I'll keep that simple.
Okay.
Keep it simple.
So
second inquiry.
I think for the sake of clarity, the motion should be that it's to investigate the weighted disbursement of the $35 fee.
The board also voted to examine the creation of a special separate sticker for ORV day trippers. The Department of Public Works Water Supply Division will begin water main work along Yarmouth Road in Hyannis this Thursday. Crews will begin a project that DPW Director Dan Santos describes as cleaning and relining of the water mains.
And what we can do instead of replacing a water main that over time they get restricted, they get buildup of rust and just material, and it's not hazardous or harmful, but it does build up, and you'd have to replace the pipe because you're reducing the amount of pressure you can put in there, which is a problem for firefighters. And for those using tap water, you just have less pressure.
Santos says the majority of work will be done at night as to not interrupt travel on that busy stretch of roadway. Work will begin this Thursday and last about 2 weeks. The northbound lane of Yarmouth Road will be closed to traffic at night while work is being done. While the USDA and local natural resource officers are working to vaccinate wild animals against the deadly rabies disease this month, it might also be a good idea for you to take care of your canine companion. The MSPCA Centerville is holding a low-cost rabies clinic this Saturday, October 25th from noon to 3. Rabies vaccinations are available on a limited basis for $10 per dog. Please bring previous vaccination certificate if available. No appointment is necessary, but the clinic is first come, first serve. By law, all domestic dogs, cats, and even ferrets must be vaccinated. Be sure to tune in to Barnstable This Morning, our daily hour-long morning newscast. Tomorrow's show features our Business Barnstable segment, Finance with Mark Milne, and our Elected Officials segment this week with State Rep Randy Hunt. Weekday mornings at 7 a.m. right here on Channel 18. With Barnstable Today, I'm Sarah Colvin.